Welcome, geometry students. Today, Pythagorean Theorem review. As you know, the Pythagorean Theorem says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. For any right triangle, it is true that the square of one leg plus the square of the other leg will equal the square of the hypotenuse. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. 3 plus 4 does not equal 5, but 3 squared plus 4 squared does equal 5 squared. That's true for every right triangle. Number 1, read the instructions. Use the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of the hypotenuse. First thing I like to do is always identify which one is the hypotenuse. It is always across from the right angle. After that, the formula. A squared plus b squared equals, I always like to write it as hypotenuse squared, and I always like to do the hypotenuse first so that you don't accidentally confuse it with something else. It must go by itself. I'm trying to find the hypotenuse. I don't know what it is, so I'm going to call it AB. But it's squared. Then I've got 20 squared plus 21 squared. It doesn't matter which one of those you put first. Square them first and then add them. 21 squared, 441. 841. So is the answer 841? Don't forget to take the square root. Many people do forget. The answer is 29. Before you put a box around it, though, always check to make sure your answer makes sense. So if this length is 20 and that length is 21, is it possible that this could be 29? It is the longest side, so it seems plausible that AB is indeed 29. We're trying to find a length here, so I like to include units. And there you are. Look at the second problem. Read the instructions. The lengths of a right triangle are 10 feet and 24 feet. I'm going to sketch a picture. It's not necessary. That's why I didn't do the picture. But I'm going to say the length here is 24 and the length is 10. I want to find the hypotenuse, which is always across from the right angle. Once again, I like to put the hypotenuse in first. I don't know it, so I'm just going to call it C, and it's C squared. Doesn't matter which one, the 24 or 10 goes first, so I'll put in 10 squared plus 24 squared. You must square these before you add them. Do not add them first. 10 squared plus 24 squared is not the same thing as 10 plus 24 quantity squared. That's 576. Now add them. Don't forget to take the square root. (26). Another Pythagorean triple. And again, before you put a box around it, does it make sense? It does. So in this case, the hypotenuse is 26. It didn't give me units. Actually, it did. It said it was feet. By the way, when I say a Pythagorean triple, I mean that the three numbers are whole numbers, 10, 24, 26, 3, 4, 5. Most right triangles are not whole numbers. All right, number 3 says solve for x. Here it is. It is not the hypotenuse. So when I go to make my formula, I always like to put the hypotenuse in first, and that I know is 20. 20 squared is 400. Over here, I'm going to say x squared plus 8 squared. Take the square root. And x equals 4 times the square root of 21. That's a perfectly acceptable answer. However, because I am trying to find a length here, to say something is 4 times the square root of 21 isn't very useful. So I am going to find the decimal approximation, 18.33, and that's what I'm going to compare. If this is 20 and this is 8, could this be 1833? Certainly could. And you know I like units. Number 3. Look at number 4. Read the instructions. The hypotenuse of a right triangle, is 12, and the length of one of the sides is 6. I'm going to sketch a picture, even though it's not necessary. This is 12, this is 6, and this is what I'm trying to find. I'm just going to call this A. So, formula. You know I like to put the hypotenuse in first. The hypotenuse was 12. The other sides, it doesn't matter which order, but I called this A. And then this is 6 squared, so A squared is equal to 144. $108. And that's the answer, except it's not. Don't forget to take the square root. 6 times the square root of 3. Another one of those answers that's perfectly acceptable, but I say, does this length look like it'd be 6 times the square root of 3? I have no idea. But when I do a decimal conversion, A is approximately equal to 10.39. That seems reasonable. That's in meters. That's 10 meters and 39 centimeters. This little dot means approximately. Good for number 4. Check out number 5. It's an application problem. I know that because there's a picture here. To the nearest inch, how far above the ground are the dog's paws when the seesaw is level? Well, the only thing that makes this an application is they actually just gave me a picture. They tell me this is 26 inches, and they tell me the hypotenuse is 36 inches. I'm trying to find this distance here. I know the hypotenuse is 36. I know the ground level is 26, and then I don't know the other one, so I'm going to just call it H for height. 676. $12.96, I think. Yep. Whoops. 2 times the square root of 155. And same issue here. Do a decimal approximation and find out that it's equal to 24.9 inches. But before you put a box around it, does this seem like it could be 24.9? Sure. 26, 25, 36. So I'm content with that. One more application. Look at the TV. In the old days, we had TVs that were measured diagonally. The diagonal screen is 19 inches. It says television screens are measured diagonally. How wide is a 19-inch screen that is 11 inches high? I want to know this width down here. This is 19, measured diagonally, and this is 11. That looks like a Pythagorean theorem problem. The diagonal distance is 19. Don't forget to square it. The distance across the bottom I'm trying to find, and the height is 11. So I know 11 is 121. I don't know 19 though. 361. 4 times the square root of 15. 15.49. There you go. Pythagorean Theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And that's that.